Hello there! Although I don't think I can say that I'm a big reader, I nevertheless have read quite a good handful of books, so I thought I could share my favorite ones so far. So, starting off with The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer. I think it is among the first self-help books that I have read, and it's basically about detaching oneself from our thoughts, emotions, and mental constructs, since at the end of the day, that is not our essence. Our essence is the one that hears and experiences all of them. An image that really stuck with me was when he used the metaphor of building a house in the middle of a beautiful field as a metaphor for our mental constructs, and then we start getting scared of the outer world and we just close ourselves shut completely, black out windows, block the door, everything, but then the electricity runs on, so the person uses these emergency light sticks when there's an abundance of light outside. Well, basically he invites us to step outside, open the door, and let ourselves bathe in the light of the universe. So it has definitely been really helpful and, well, eye-opening in my personal journey of self-transformation. The next book I would like to talk about is The Fifth Agreement by Don Miguel Ruiz and his son Don Jose Ruiz. It is a continuation to their book, The Four Agreements, and so in here they nicely summarize those first four agreements and add a fifth one. And, well, in their own words, well, throughout our lives, because of education, culture, and so on, we get domesticated and therefore lose touch with the inner wisdom that we were all born with, and therefore we make these unhelpful agreements that often create a lot of needless suffering. So these 5 agreements are a way to counteract these unhelpful agreements and to help us cultivate inner peace and happiness. And so here, one of the images that really struck with me was when talking about the second agreement, to not take anything personally. Well, they use the image of being in a mall with multiple cinemas, and in the first one that we go in, well, we see our life through our perspective, and then in the next room we go, for example, in our mom's theater, and then we see that the same events both of us experience, well, she sees it very differently, because, well, we are all the main characters of our own stories, and that's how our view of things get tinted. So acknowledging this is really liberating. And although it of course takes quite some time to undomesticate oneself, well, these types of books are definitely a huge stepping stone forward. Next up is instead a fiction book, which is Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi, and I have to thank my friend for gifting it to me. Kisses to you, Alma. In it has 4 mini stories, which all revolve around, well, this magical cafe where you can go back in time, but there are a few rules to it. And although before I tended to read almost exclusively non-fiction because I wanted to get the most out of the reading experience, but then when I started reading some fiction books, I saw that actually they also have so much to offer, not only because we are then into the thoughts and perspectives of different characters, and plus, for example, in this case, well, we can get some glimpses of Japanese mentality, which yet again broadens even more the mind and perspectives. But also here, at the end of each story, when the characters get to talk again to whoever they wanted, the insight that I really got each time was that everyone has their own world, and therefore, well, communication is so crucial. Like, I was reading the end of this book when I was dog sitting, so I was just bawling my eyes up in my neighbor's couch in front of their dog, and that's how good the book is. Moving on to one of my all-time favorites is the book Untamed by Glennon Doyle, and as beautifully summarized on the back, forceful and tender, Untamed is both an intimate memoir and a galvanizing wake-up call about what is possible when we step out of our cages and say, here I am. And then, although it has then quite a similar message as The Untethered Soul, well, the reason it has made such a big impact on me is because of how personal it is, and so through her own untaming, well, there are so many beautiful lessons that have struck me, and the biggest one for me is, well, the power of intimacy and being vulnerable, as this is what really made it leave a huge imprint on my heart. And last, but certainly not least, there's Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist, which is my all-time favorite. It's the perfect mix between fiction and spiritual growth. What really made it impactful is the main character. He incarnates himself enlightenment because of his equanimity to anything that life throws at him. And so following his journey through his perspective and his beautiful character, we get to embody it a bit ourselves. And again, well, although non-fiction books are definitely filled with gems, well, when it's so beautifully packaged in a story, well, all the lessons are so much more penetrating and impactful. And as honorable mentions, here are the 4 books that I'm currently reading in parallel. So these 2 I have already mentioned in another video, but Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer will definitely become one of my favorite books because of the beautiful mix of indigenous and scientific knowledge and paired with her beautiful personal stories. And then there's Devotions by Mary Oliver, which is a beautiful collection of divine poems. And then there's What I Know For Sure by Oprah Winfrey. She's truly a wonderful woman, and well, here it's a collection of her own personal lessons from her journey. And last but not least, The Heart of the Buddha's Teaching by none other than Thich Nhat Hanh, which is such a beautiful introduction to Buddhism, and just, yeah, in all 4 of these books, well, the authors are such precious human beings shining, so it's lovely to bathe in their lights. So this will be it for my book recommendations, and I would love to hear about yours. And sorry, this video is dedicated to the magic and transformational power of books. I can only look forward to filling up my shelves with even more such beautiful pieces. And so yeah, I'll leave you at that. Wishing you a wonderful day and perhaps a good read. And until next time, take care. Bye! Love books.